So how you guys doing, man?
Doing great.
Oh man, doing awesome.
Cool. Now, the last time we spoke, Mike, on the air was March of this year, and a lot has happened since then. You guys got signed to Frontiers, so congrats on that. Now, what led to the signing?
It was kind of, the label of choice. We had worked with Paris, who was great, and we worked with Kibble Records before that. It's been the premier label for, our style of music, whether it's called melodic hard rock or melodic metal. It's kind of been the premier destination for that. So in the genre that we're in, not to pigeonhole us, that's where we wanted to be. And, reaching out to them, and I had some contacts from our other band. So it just fell into place very nicely.
Yeah, we felt really fortunate to end up with Frontiers because it's a lot of due diligence from Jason. So we definitely appreciate
Thanks.
that. And, again, can't thank either Kibble Records enough or Paris Records enough because they're both awesome labels. And, we just feel really fortunate to kind of, I don't know, it's kind of surreal when you think about it. You're on a label that has bands like Striper, Winger, Journey. It's like, wow. It's definitely like a childhood dream coming true.
That's cool. Now, what do you think signing with Frontiers will bring?
Oh, wow. I think when when you're fortunate enough to land on the premier hard rock / melodic rock label in the world right now, probably going to bring better distribution for sure. One would think, perhaps some, greater visibility, most definitely. And from what we've gathered from the fine folks at Frontiers, perhaps a bit more support, and that is that's really paramount, because what we'd like to do is, we kind of like to branch out a little bit more, play some more shows, and just kind of spread the word of SteelCity, so to speak.
What makes being on Frontiers so special? You think it's being a part of that family with all the acts you just mentioned moments ago, or is there more to it than that?
I think, it's part of that. We've all got the same kind of interest, the same kind of music genre. Financially, obviously, it helps us out because, when you start out in this business, you're putting out a lot of your own money up front, whether it's to play an instrument, learning how to play, to buy the instrument, then to record. So, and we've been blessed enough in the situations that we've been, where we first signed with Kibble Records, so they helped us put out the first couple of records, and then we moved into Paris, where Mach 2 was already out there, but they helped us market it. And now moving forward with this deal, which is a pretty substantial deal, it markets it around the world, so to speak, and gives us a little bit more financial burden taken away from us, and helps us focus more on the music.
That makes sense.
100%. Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback onto that in the prior comment, it still kind of freaks me out and geeks me out that, when you think about it, you're going to be releasing music on the same label as that Neil Sean has released music on, or Michael Sweet or Winger, which all these guys are like heroes of mine since I was a little kid. And it's really awesome just to think that, you're going to have that type of support behind you with a label that supports those type of bands. So that they're seasoned and well-versed in what they're doing. And with that in mind, you have, a great deal of trust in Frontiers.
I said, you really do have a lot of trust with them, and they have a lot of trust in us. And I mean, that's a big part of it. When a label approaches you, there's that trust factor, because there's an expectation level from both ends of it. They want us to produce a product that they can actually support, and we want them to support a product that we've produced, and kind of, come up with out of, from our own instances, sort of out of, thin air. We've manufactured these songs, and we're putting it forward to produce a product that they can distribute.
Let's talk about producing a product. You guys obviously are working on a new album. How is it coming along, and when can we expect it?
The album is coming along quite well. At the moment, we've got drum tracks, I think, done for, drum tracks, bass tracks. We're handing pretty much everything over to Roy here in a little bit to get everything recorded. I think the expectation from Frontiers is to have the album out sometime in the first part of next year. Ultimately, when they release the album is entirely up to them. But as far as our progress, we're coming along quite nicely, and we're working again with Ty Sims and Eric Johnson, and it's been great so far.
Now, over the last year, you guys played several shows, including New York, Mike, your old stomping grounds, Youngstown, Ohio, and Hollywood, California at the Whiskey. What were those experiences like?
They were all pretty awesome, and it was kind of came together from some hard work from Jason, and also, and I guess from me as well. I arranged the Youngstown show. Jason worked with Bill DiPaolo from Entertainment Services of New York to bring us into New York State, and both of those shows were just absolutely fantastic. It was super fun actually to play in Youngstown, which it was kind of weird because I have not played in Youngstown since 1987.
Wow!
And so we had a nice crowd there. I mean, we had a really nice crowd there, and it was a lot of family and friends too. It was just an absolute blast to actually be able to pick up a guitar and play in front of, like I said, all of my family and friends. And it was just kind of funny because a lot of people that I've known forever, like, dude, we didn't know you could play guitar like that. Like, what you expect?
That's funny.
It's like, oh, he's probably gonna suck, but let's just go out and say hi anyway. But it was fun. We had a good time, and I think the guys really enjoyed being in Youngstown. Jason's wife is actually from an area close to there. I think she's from Kent, so he's kind of familiar with the area as well.
Yeah, so it's become like my second home there as well. So it was great to play there. I love it up there. We spent a lot of time at my in-laws' house, so it was great. It was great to meet all Mike's friends, and we had a blast.
Out of the three, which one was your favorite and why?
I don't know if there's a favorite for me. It's hard to say because I love playing in front of my hometown. I mean, that was an absolute blast. Bill in New York was, a gracious host. It's a beautiful venue. There's so many, it's just such a great place to play. And, the sound man there was incredible. He made us sound absolutely fantastic. And the Whiskey, I mean, what can you say? I really didn't have, everybody's always like, oh, the whiskey, this hallowed ground where all of these bands played. And I really, honestly, probably didn't feel that vibe until I stood on that stage. Mm-hmm. But they were gracious. They were gracious as well. They're fantastic. I believe Jason has some information. He may want to be able to share some information about our next show, which is coming up at the Whiskey as well. So, So I mean, it's just like it was. I guess we did well enough that they wanted us back. So that's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I love playing all three. So I can't say that I could pick one over the other. They were all just pretty special for different reasons. And
you had mentioned a moment ago that you do have some shows coming up. Do you mind sharing when and where?
Sure. Yeah, Jason wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with the first one. So we're on January 24th, kind of NAMM Eve, if you will. So NAMM kicks off in Anaheim, at the Anaheim Convention Center on January 25th. So the 24th, we'll be back at the Whiskey co-headlining with Roxy Blue again. It's going to be amazing. So they asked us back. We did the same kind of lineup last year, and it was kind of the same thing, but NAMM was in April, so it was obviously towards the April-based NAMM, but this will be the evening before NAMM starts, so we expect a really good show.
When you guys did your last three shows, who were some of the acts that you played with, and did you make any new friends out of the people that you shared the stage with? Oh,
absolutely. In Youngstown, we played with a band called Stage of Dreams, which is kind of like, I guess the best way I could describe them is kind of like a power metal band. Along the lines of like an Iron Maiden would probably be one of the best examples I can provide. And then, of course, in New York, we played with the local heroes there called Love Bone. And, the guitar player there, Roy Costin, is absolutely a great guy. I mean, they're all really cool dudes, but Roy and I kind of still chat a little bit more, back and forth online on Facebook, and just a great bunch of dudes. We had a blast in both places. And then Jason, of course, he and I helped. We coordinated all the bands that played on the Whiskey show, mm-hmm. And we had some bands there like Lost Hearts, Band Inc., There was a lot of bands that were there. And Jason brought some more bands on there as well. Alice Loves Alien is one of them. And I'm trying to think of the Renegade Cartel.
Oh, yes.
So we had like a lot of really cool bands that we played with. It was a blast. And all of these bands, they're becoming kind of like, good friends and family, almost. Some of those bands are coming back to play with us again.
Nice.
At the Whiskey here next year. Yeah.
Very cool. This podcast is going to feature two of your tracks off from Mach 2, Give It Back and Steal Your Heart. What's the story behind those songs?
Oh, well, Give It Back is something that's been kind of rolling around for a long, long time. My good friend all the way from high school, Tom Talley, is he and I used to kind of sing that song. It was like a made-up joke, kind of. We used to sing the song together, like, give it back, give it back, give it back, you dirty sucker. And then we would follow it up with you mother. It was just a joke. But being the big Van Halen fan that Tom was, I always told him, I said, I'm going to make that song, I'm going to make that little joke into a song one day. You watch. And so Van Halen was kind of like the inspiration behind the way the song sounds now.
Mm-hmm.
And the song itself is, there's no other way to say it, man. The song was about a romantic entanglement with a lady.
Nice.
So, yeah. More to that story, but we're not sharing it on the air.
Okay.
But for sure. But and then the other song, I believe you said Steal Your Heart, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that song actually is kind of a hodgepodge. The song itself started from the guitar solo, which is someplace where I never really start a song. It's probably the first and only time I've done that, where I just had the idea in my head for a guitar solo, and I built the entire song around that, musically around the guitar solo. And then, as I was searching for words and searching to find words, the words for Steal Your Heart were actually from a song that I wrote. I'm going to guess, without looking at my songbook, I'd have to go back. It's somewhere between like 1989, 1990, maybe. I actually wrote the words for that song way back when. So it's kind of, I put words from a different song to the song that I created. And honestly, that's one of our favorite songs to play live. I know Anthony White really loves to play that song live. We were going to cut it from one of our sets on one of our recent shows, and he was like, absolutely not. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
Love that song.
Now, where do you draw inspiration from your lyrics?
They can come from anywhere, as evidenced from like the last two songs. I try not to write too much of like the sex, fire, and desire kind of songs, because I think it's a little bit overdone. But I do think they have their place on an album, and I don't think every song could be some introspective or thing with like deep meaning or whatever. Sometimes songs just have to be fun, and that's what like a song like Give It Back is for. And then songs that have like a deeper meaning would be songs like Down to One, and you just draw inspiration from anywhere. One of my the first EP I had. The song Above the Law was just simply about, about things like the title came from a movie, and then the song itself is like personal experience, about knowing. It's hard to describe. The final verse in that song is about my mom passing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that. So it's like, it can come from anywhere and everywhere, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So do readers or listeners take away different things from what your songs originally intended, you think?
Yeah, I think even people in our band. For instance, the song I Cry on Mach 2 was a song about, playing guitar and, being away from your guitar. And when Roy read the lyrics, he rewrote the second verse of the song, and he interpreted it as, being with a lady, being intimate with a lady. And that's fine, because, when you're playing I think Jason can kind of attest to this as well. Sometimes when, you're playing your guitar, you're playing your instrument, it becomes, I don't want to say it's sexual or anything like that. I'm just saying it becomes an intimate moment for you, because it has deeper meaning for you, because you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
So people can interpret things the way they want.
A lot of people that I ask that question of, they always say, of course, yeah. But you know what? Everything's open for interpretation, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the most important qualities are for a successful songwriter?
Gosh, nobody's ever asked me that. I think Jason, you can kind of pitch in on this too, if you like. For me, it's just sometimes it's sticking with what you know and doing what you know very well. Because you have to know your limitations to some degree. Now, conversely to that, sometimes you just have to be able to be willing to take a chance and branch out and add different elements into what you do well. And hopefully we've done that over the course of, the last 2 albums. And for me, I think this is actually going to be album number 6 in 8 years that I've written. So, you're always just trying to grow and add to your ability.
I agree 100%. I mean, it's interesting how songs kind of come together. I mean, sometimes it starts with a riff. Sometimes it starts with a chorus. I've even created a bridge and written songs around it. But I mean, there's that one thing that always kind of catches your ear, whether it's the first time that you create it, the first time you hear it. There's other times, people present things to me, and I'll hear that riff, and then I can write stuff off it. And then kind of figuring out where you want to go with it. I play with other bands, and Mike does as well, and not the different genres, but maybe different styles of rock. So you kind of want to make sure it kind of fits in to SteelCity. And I think we've done a great job of that. And I mean, the biggest thing that I noticed since I joined for the second record, which was initially part of Kibble, and when I first got the call about it, hearing the music really drew me in. It was just like, I could definitely see myself being a member of this. And that's one thing I think that we've stuck to is those big choruses, those great melodies, very catchy. There were different musicians on the first record, but that infrastructure was still there, meaning big, catchy choruses, great riffs, great guitar playing, just great musicianship. And I think that's key to any quality band, musicians that are great, just being, writing those songs and, putting our entire effort into it, obviously, but the big choruses and the catchy lines are what really matters.
Now, when you guys write a song, do you work with the singer to try to help them interpret your lyrics in a way that is authentic to their own personality?
Strangely enough, it's when I'm writing a lot of these songs, I will, and Jason's heard the demos, so he'll understand and appreciate what I'm saying. Yeah. I try to sing them in a way that whether it was Brian Cole before Roy or Roy, I try to sing them in a way that they'll understand this is what I'm going for. I can't achieve what they do because I am not a singer and I don't have the kind of range that they do. But I think when I'm singing the demos, they can kind of pick up where I'm trying to go with it, and then they can make that their own. But they pretty much have a template as to where they're to draw their inspiration from.
I agree with Mike here. The way Mike writes, I mean, a lot of times he'll come up with the lyrics, he'll write the melodies, and then they interpret it from there. And I'm the same way, whether it's working with Roy or working with any other bands that I work with. You kind of hear it in your own mind, and then that singer kind of interprets that methodology. Most of the time, we do keep most of the lyrics intact the way we work in SteelCity. So, and I think that's a good way to do it, just because, when you're building a house or you're building a foundation, it's got to start somewhere. And if you start interpreting it too much as the process flows along, I mean, it could work out great either way, but the methodology has worked out best for us is to kind of start with that foundation and continue that foundation through the development of the songs, the records, and the catalog.
Very cool. Now, what do you guys got planned for the rest of the year?
Our main focus right now and our dedication right now, at least as far as SteelCity is concerned, is to get this album done for Frontiers. And for ourselves too, of course, but we want to meet our deadline. We want to exceed Frontier's expectations of us. And so our goal right now is to get the album done. And we're hard at work at that. That's pretty much, at least from my standpoint, that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree with Mike. So, yeah, 100% Pete Ford, into production, completing this, by December, our intentions are. And then moving forward from there. So then we'll kick it off with a whiskey. And then we've got another show that Mike's been taking care of, which is going to be in Santa Ana on the 25th at Stages, which is going to be pretty amazing because we're pretty much in the midst of NAMM at that point. And I know, a lot of musicians talk about NAMM as the holy grail. And it's a great opportunity because you can get your music really heard. You can get a lot of people interested that might not be in that same part of the country altogether, or that same location altogether. So you got to kind of take advantage of that kind of stuff. And then we're working on a date at NAMM as well. So we're still waiting to confirm that. But yeah, and then the release of the album, and then we'll talk about touring after that, supporting the new record along with the video, obviously. So, it's SteelCity's got a lot going on right now, but the main focus, as Mike said, is to complete the record.
It's going to be really interesting because we're all together at the same spot for like a week. We're going to have to get the video done while we're doing all these shows. It's going to be a really, really, really tight schedule. So it's going to be pretty fun and maybe a little hectic.
Once the album is released, do you think there's a possibility that you might go on a tour with another artist, say maybe like a Striper or one of the other artists that you mentioned earlier? Is that a possibility for SteelCity?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, I think that'd be fantastic. I think with SteelCity, and I think there's always the opportunity to play shows. I think the biggest thing for us is there are a lot of bands out there, and I'm not going to name names, but I don't think people realize this. There's a lot of these bands that are touring that are just doing like weekend warrior type stuff where they come out and they'll play like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then even though they're rock stars, they kind of go back to their real job during the week. And I think if we're going to, I mean, tell me I'm wrong, but
no, 100% right. I mean, I've worked with, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I've worked with artists, and it's the same situation no matter what level you're at nowadays.
And so I think for us, if we're going to have any type of touring opportunities, I think that's going to pretty much be where we're at as well. Only because, like, just being full disclosure, yes, I love playing music, and I guess I can consider myself an artist now. But I'm also a respiratory therapist. I have a full-time job, and I have to work any type of touring opportunities around that,
Yeah, and there's other band members that also have full-time jobs as well besides music, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like even some of the shows that we've mentioned, like some of the shows that we talked about on this show, we've definitely had to rearrange our own schedules just to make those happen. Mm-hmm. And that's just the reality of life these days. That's the reality of being an artist in 2023. You're not going to be, say, the guitar player in Kiss and that's it. You're going to be the guitar player in SteelCity. You're going to be the guitar player in Love and Chains. Maybe you're going to be in a tribute band, whatever. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying that you kind of have to have a lot of irons in the fire these days. It's not just one thing. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you guys have a website that you'd like to promote?
Absolutely. The website is www.idora, entertainment.com. There you can find anything and everything SteelCity related on the artist page, and up to including like upcoming shows, all news about the band, all of our social posts. And you can also find, if you go to the shop section, you could find all of our merchandise. And the music section will take you to the Bandcamp page for Idora Entertainment, where you could purchase, I think the only thing we have left in physical copy is Mach 2.
Oh, wow.
But on Idora at some point, like I said, I've actually already spoken with a couple of artists who are going to possibly expand into not just being things that is, bands that I'm related to or bands that I'm in. We're just going to probably hopefully start opening up the door to other artists to be a part of the Idora Entertainment thing as well.
When you say other artists, is that outside the genre you're in, or it has to be in the same genre?
Preferably the same genre to begin with. We want to stick to what we know. But at some point, maybe that might happen. But it'll probably still be our inner circle at the beginning.
Very cool. Now, you gave out the website, and folks, it's almost Christmas time. You got about 6 weeks, 7 weeks away. There's plenty of merch up on that site, CDs and shirts and stuff like that. It'll make a great gift or a stocking stuffer even, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Now,
And if you like the designs, the designer's an awesome guy. His name is Mike Floros.
Wow. Head getting any bigger or what?
Of course, pretty soon I'm going to graduate from guitarist to lead singer. And I'm kidding.
Now, is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
Jason, you got anything?
I would just say, we're looking forward to seeing everybody at these shows that can, make it out, and, looking forward to everybody hearing the new product. We're just incredibly excited.
The only thing I could say is just to anybody and everybody that's actually supported SteelCity over the course of time here, just thank you, because that means more than anything, because I think the people that support us had just as much to do with us moving forward as we did, because without the support, it doesn't happen. So I just want to thank everybody that's part of the SteelCity fan family for being there. We appreciate it. We're hoping to get new music out to you very soon. Again, just want to thank the guys at Frontiers for having some faith in us, and hopefully we can come through for you in spades. That'd be awesome. I was going to say, and as always, Jimmy, thank you for the time.
Yeah, Jimmy, thank you for the time. And I want to mention, Alessandro in particular. He's been a real champion for SteelCity with the label and whatnot. When we first talked to him over a year ago, they had interest, and of course you always hear that, from labels. Oh yeah, we're interested. We'll get back to you. He made a verbal commitment to me, and he held up on his end. So he said, the beginning of the year, let's talk. So the beginning of 2023, we started talking, and we spoke, and we sent music back and forth, through May and June, and then finally, we had that deal on the table. And it took us a while going back and forth to negotiate the deal and get everything in writing. But this guy, really came through for us. And I can't thank Frontiers enough, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting with me today. I want to congratulate you on the deal with Frontiers, and wish you best of luck on this new album. And I can't wait to hear it when it comes out.
Thanks.
Mike, let's stay in touch. Jason as well. And when that album comes out, I'd love to have you guys back on, all right?
All right, sounds good.
100%.
All right, you guys take care. Have a good one, all right?
Thank you.
You too, man.
All right,
See
bye-bye.
you.